winter is over, the sun is out, and it's time to get the American muscle cars on track for Trans Am 2022. Sebring International Raceway at 3.5 miles and a former World War II airfield is fast through 1, then heavy on the brakes through 2, 3, 4 and 5, opening up at Big Bend and under the bridge, into the hairpin at 7, up the Fangio Straight and into 10 and 11, which is Collier, then a right turn at Tower, Bishop is 14, Le Mans 15 and 16, and then the Ullman Straight, the long, long run, all the way to the final corner, which is Sunset Bend. That is a lap of Sebring International Raceway. Hello and a warm welcome to Sebring International Raceway. As you can see, puffy clouds in the distance and a beautiful day at this iconic American circuit. Home, of course, to the 12 hours of Sebring, which will be coming up later in about 4 weeks' time, 3 weeks' time from now. But we are here for the Sebring SpeedTour, which, of course, is Trans Am and SVRA. As you can see, American flags are flying, and the odd British flag as well, and well it should, because we have a mix in what Trans Am started as with SVRA of great sports cars from all over the world. And we welcome you to our 2022 season. Over this season, we'll be circumnavigating the USA, going to literally all the iconic circuits, including here at Sebring. But it's somewhat fitting that we do start here, because back in 1966, a great year I may add, it all started here for Trans Am. And in terms of SVRA, that is literally an open book, a moving book if you will, the history of sports car racing in this country. Once again, the fans are out. It's been a tough 2 years, we all know that, we don't need to dwell on it. But now we're back out in the sunshine of Florida and enjoying it. A nice breeze here, although we're already in the mid-80s here at the start of today, but I think that breeze will help a lot of respite to those watching and ultimately those in the cockpits as well, because it gets hot out there, very hot indeed. As for Sebring itself, as I mentioned, it's an iconic circuit, a former World War II airfield, 3.6 miles with some fantastic corners, long straights, including that last Ullman Straight, and then into the famous bumpy but ever iconic Sunset Bend. And we had some race victories here in Trans Am last year at that very last corner. Well, my cohort and top man down on the grid as well as in the commentary booth, of course, is Ben Sissel once again, and I believe he's down there already. So he's not laying back and taking in the sunshine, he's out there working. Ben Sissel, what have you got?
All right, welcome to the Sebring SpeedTour. I am so excited to be here. We've got a record car show right over there, a record number of spectators, and as you can see, a record number of sponsors and marketing partners. But stay with me because, Tony, we've got Mission Foods, a new sponsor with us, the owner of Mission Foods, Juan Gonzalez, right there in the red 81. But we're gonna go over here. We're going to find Mr. Fangler, Ken Fangler, the owner, president of International GT. We've been talking about a lot of records being broken. Ken, you've sold out another broken record for International GT here at Sebring International Raceway. How does it feel?
Fantastic. We're elated to have the support of, not only the customers and our marketing partners and all that, but the enthusiasm for the series has been off the chart. And, we've kind of gone by our original plan of what we expected, and we've blown by that, and to the point where we're starting to have to put people on a wait list to come in. And we had 60 cars registered originally on this deal. We got more than 50 on the grid today, and it's just a fantastic weekend of racing put on at this SpeedTour event.
Nice. So you talk about enthusiasm, great way to describe this. We had your banquet, your party last night, the enthusiasm of all your drivers. But quickly, for those that are just joining us, explain International GT and the groups that you run and who races with you.
Well, as I said, we don't have a rule book. We just have some guidelines, and we have a theory. The theory is that we have fun, safe racing, and we'll let it figure itself out. But the 3 categories we have, the Stuttgart Cup is for the German manufacturers. In that are the Caymans, Porsche Caymans. We occasionally have Mercedes-Benz, and this particular race we also have Audis in there, and the Stuttgart Cup. Mission Foods GT3 Cup Trophy, our largest group of 911-based cars, 3.6, 3.8, 4-liter 4R cars, all the 911-based cars, and then finally the Italian brands, the Maranello Cup, Lamborghini, and what here represented is a good group of Ferraris. So those are our 3 groups.
That's amazing. Every one of these cars could have been on my wall as a child. Ken, so proud of you. International GT is so much fun. Jonathan, we're about 3 minutes on the grid. I'm going to send it to my buddy Jonathan Green up in the booth.
Thank you, Big B. And Ben Sissel will be with me here in the commentary booth and bebopping around the paddock and pit lane throughout the season, as he always does. He is an absolute treasure for us because his knowledge of both the drivers and racers in both SVRA and Trans Am is unique. And in fact, he even puts up all the flags. He's been here almost a week, so those flags are flying high at the moment. So, just to give you an idea, that IGT race, and as Ben was pointing out, as we look at the Mission Foods Juan Gonzalez, he got 5th place here last time out, man from Dallas, Texas, and we're delighted to have him on board. It's not often that you get sponsors that actually take part in the race, is it? Well, it's quite unique in this paddock. We've got the likes of Juan Gonzalez, who is, as I said, a major sponsor throughout the weekend. You'll see his logo there, here, there, and everywhere. We've also got people like Jim Farley, who, of course, is the head of Ford. He'll be racing a Lola later today in SVRA. But what I love about this particular series is the fact that it is just what they describe. Mostly Porsches, but really, these are the cars that generally gentleman drivers, but some also either semi-professional or professional drivers come to the series. There's one of the few Audis we've got. That's a 2000 Audi from Plantation, Florida. That's Lopez Santini. He got a 7th here last year in this very race, which was won, by the way, by Andy Pilgrim. He, too, is in this massive field of over 55 cars. And a real challenge. And I was just looking at the field through and through. We've got a lot of drivers here who have either taken part in the 12 hours or have done the Ferrari Challenge or have done, of course, this sort of racing as well. But we've really got some big names, both past and present, and some you may never have heard of, especially in Trans Am. And so we'll be introducing you this weekend to some drivers that you should remember. Yes, you may know the Wally Donnenbachs and the Tommy Kendalls and all those names of the past, but we're going to introduce you to 16, 17, and in some cases 15-year-olds as they make their way to try and make fame and fortune. Beautifully put together, these cars. There's a lovely Ferrari. Not sure what number it is, but we'll take a look at him. And not as many Ferraris as there are Porsches, but we've got a 458 Ferrari 2014 from Naples in Florida. John Patrick driving that. And this is Patrick Mullaney in the 458 Challenge, number 36. So we'll watch out for him too. And as you see, V-Box Motorsport giving us all the info that anybody in the audience watching on our live stream can effectively look at. And I think for those sort of armchair drivers or sim drivers sitting at home watching the real thing, you may well have done a few laps around Sebring yourself, maybe had a go at the 12 hours, but to see it for real and see where the breaking points are and see how these drivers, who are some of the best in the world, go about taking on this iconic circuit, keep an eye on that V-Box, because that gives you a lot of information as to when they brake, where they are, the G-forces involved, and how they go about this big challenge that is Sebring. Sebring itself, right in the heart of Florida, about an hour and a half south of Tampa Bay, and pretty equidistant between the two coasts. And of course, we've got IndyCar racing on the West Coast this weekend. So it's a busy weekend for Florida, as the single-seaters are in action at St. Petersburg, and we're in action here at Sebring. There's another beautifully prepared Ferrari in the more well-known colors, red and white. Spoiler on the back. And I wonder how strong that wind's going to get as the day goes on. We're not expecting any rain, but that said, in Florida can mean anything because it can soon change here in Florida. But these guys usually put on a good show. They are very proficient at their racing. They know what they're doing. They've been here several times before. I was just looking at the results from last year, and I mentioned Andy Pilgrim. Well, Andy Pilgrim did win this race last year. And in fact, he was followed home by Tom Pank, who's also in this field, as is Lucas Pank, his son, Benoit Bergeron. That's the only man I haven't seen that was here last year. He was on the podium, followed by Mark Greenberg and Juan Gonzalez, who you've already seen in this car here. Oh, that's good timing. There is Juan Gonzalez, who was fifth here last year. Jason McCarthy was in the top 10, and Andor Novak was 9th position last year, so he too will be looking for another good result. 55 cars in all as they dive under the bridge. Let's tell you about the circuit. We're going on the infield now, down towards the hotel and effectively the hairpin. And very, very tight indeed, and there's a good overtaking opportunity into this corner here, which we call turn 7. Quick wave, there's the hotel just outside the circuit there. Great place to stay if you're a driver, makes things easier. But a lot of work and interest going into that corner there. Then it opens up through 8 and 9 through Fangio. And this is what we call the Fangio straight. It's slightly kinked, but pretty much flat out. Got to be careful of those rumble strips on either side. Not a lot of places to overtake there. Possibility of breaking into 10, which is coming up now. And it's a combination. There's about 5 different types of asphalt here, which is another reason why Sebring is such a challenge to the drivers and the engineers setting up. There's 10. And then we go through the dip of Collier, 11. And then, again, it's pretty much single file through here. And then into 12 and 13, possible overtake into 13, which is a complete 90-degree right-hander at Tower. Here is that right-hander. But as you can see, not a lot of room to overtake. Maybe there's some room on the outside if you take a lunge, but better to save your overtaking to a little bit later. And then we edge up next to the airport. There's still an airport here. I mentioned the fact that it was an old World War II airport. Well, just to the left of your shot there, the current airport is still active. You can just see the runways in the background. In fact, you can see a plane just there in the background as they go through Bishop, which is turn 14, and then head down to the last 2 corners before the main long straight, and that's 15 and 16, known as Le Mans. And then we go down the Ullman Straight. We'll talk more about some of the names of these corners as to why they were named after certain drivers in certain parts of the circuit. But this is the famous Ullman Straight, and this is where it all sorts out, especially in the closing stages of a race, because it's a long straight, almost a kilometre long, diving into the final corner, Sunset Bend. And it's certainly not a sunset look, because it can be a rude awakening, never mind a sunset, because that's the last corner. Everybody's hurtling into there at great speed and then trying to hang on the brakes into here, which is 17, Sunset Bend. But it's very wide. They come under a bridge, and there is room to go both on the inside and the outside. And if you get good drive, we've seen it happen before. Last year, Chris Dyson did it. I can see the green flag waving on the main straight. We go on board, and that's a very quick move from those chasing down the front row men. And away they go, and what a start. Look at a beautiful sight that is here at Sebring. 55 beautiful international GT cars flailing out over this circuit and heading down towards turn 2 and 3 for the first time.
Yeah, that's Stephen Hammond up there in the first shot there as they come around turn 3, Mission Foods turn 3 here at Sebring International Raceway. Look at the bunch. I love seeing these huge groups of cars. And according to my scoring, that's the number 72 of Stephen Hammond. He had a really good showing with us at Daytona just a few months ago and is having a great start here in the 2022 season, followed by Tom Pank, followed by Bob Neopol. Look at them coming into what we call the hairpin, turn 7 here.
Yeah, as you can see, a little bit of leeway, but not too much. And look how it funnels down there. Everybody trying to get position. Now we open up down the Fangio circuit. And for many of these guys, they're going to be chomping at the bit. This is the first race of the 2022 season, and I don't need to tell you what has happened in the last 2 years. It's been in and out. We have been racing, I may add. We got a full season in last year, but of course it's been tough times with COVID. So everybody delighted to be back here and racing, and I think that's why we've got such a bumper field. New names, but some of the old familiar faces, and you've just mentioned some of them. Bob Neopol, Tom Pank, and Stephen Hammond in that number 72 leading the way.
Stephen Hammond, I believe he just graduated from chiropractor college is what I heard at Daytona. He's in a 4-liter. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Stephen Hammond. But then Bob Neopol came up, takes second place from Tom Pank in third. And I believe Pedro Torres is in fourth. But, man, I am so excited to see the Sebring SpeedTour start racing with International GT. They had to cut it off at 51 cars as we go on board with the TLM car of Stephen Hammond.
You know, I mentioned it's primarily what I would call gentleman drivers, but the level of drivers in this field, especially the cars they're driving, these are no slow
right
coach
there.
cars.
Juan Gonzalez,
12 hours.
Juan Gonzalez, Mission Foods, followed by Todd Sloan around the really bumpy 17. I did see a flag there at 16 off in the distance as Neopol ducks into the inside. He's got the inside corner, but Hammond closes the door on him. Now can Hammond hold on to it as Pank wants to close in as they come into Mission Foods turn 3.
Yep. Into there, Hammond comes in, and yeah, good defensive driving then. He shut the door well, coming under the bridge in a moment. Not a lot of room to overtake here, but now he's going to have to defend as he comes under here and down towards the hairpin. That's the next place for an overtake, but they're spreading out quite dramatically now, this huge field. Coming down what I would call the Franklin Road, although it's called Big Bend in real reality, but you can see the Franklin Road logos out there and into 7, everything tightening up. Side by side with the 08 there.
Reg Williams back with us with International GT, showing us you can go side by side into that Franklin Road turn 7.
So already things starting to settle down. A good clean start for everybody involved, and that's the quality of field.
Ducking inside at turn 10. Who's that? Took the line, out brake into turn 10, and Stephen Hammond, Tom Pank. Look at this. This is going to be exciting, and this is just the start of the Sebring SpeedTour, Jonathan.
Yeah, of course, IGT have got another race tomorrow as well, so they'll be wanting to keep their cars in full fettle and get some data and information. The track hasn't changed any, but you never know with weather, and of course, as you mentioned yesterday, 5 different services here, including that old airfield.
Yeah, it is bumpy. The grip level changes at each turn. You can see there some patches in the turns there at the exit of turn 3 into a little bit of a 4. It's a really shaky, and this is hot. You can tell by the heat waves there as Tom Pank ducks out. It's a hot day. I've heard from the drivers that it's slick. Look at that, Bob Neopol looking. Everybody's trying to set it up for the Big Machine Vodka Spike Cooler turn 17. Tom Pank to the inside.
Yeah, this is the corner where you make it stick, and he's done just that. Excellent overtake at the Sunset Bend.
Wow, Tom Pank, that was risky, buddy, but you did it. Stephen Hammond saw him coming up behind, and now Bob Neopol looks like he wants to.
Tom Pank, of course, second here last year in race 1, so looking to go one better if he can.
Reg Williams giving some time, making sure the driver can see him as we ride on board with Stephen Hammond.
And he's building on that lead already. So if Stephen Hammond is going to come back at him, he's going to hope for a safety, I would have thought.
Just got word that Ken Fangler, president, owner of International GT, is going to be joining us. Ken Fangler, I know you're probably out of breath from running from the grid, but what a great start. Look at this as they come into Franklin Road, turn 7. Stephen Hammond, he had a great showing at Daytona, and he's showing us more here.
Yeah, Stephen's a young driver, and he's come on, and he wasn't here for the Thursday test day, but showing that he doesn't really need it. You know, young guy, and he was in a BMW previously, and Dad stepped up of all things and bought him a 4-liter Porsche, I think, but great to have father-sons here, and Stephen carrying the flag for the Hammond family.
Yeah, I'm trying to see where Lucas is because he's in this field, obviously. And he raced here. Andy Pilgrim, a long way down, 23rd, the winner of this race last year. Any reason for that?
Yeah, totally different car. He was in a 458 GT3 car last year. The class of the field mechanically and class-wise. He's mentoring a young driver. They have a 2-car team. and they're in the Porsche Cayman. But I have to say, in typical Andy Pilgrim fashion, he was 3 seconds faster than any other Cayman yesterday when he clicked off a 2:11 here. Typical Andy. Our champion from last year in Mission Foods, he accepted his trophy and watch, and I kidded him because I said, I've read on your bio, at least maybe International GT could at least be a little footnote down the bottom that you won the the Maranello Cup Championship with IGT.
Well, I tell you, I talked to so many other drivers, and they're just so excited to be able to call Andy Pilgrim their friend, their competitor, and it's cool for them to be able to race with somebody they've admired for so long.
Well, and all the other pros that are here. Look down the co-drivers for tomorrow. You know, Lonnie Pechnick, Mike Skeen, Butch Leitzinger, Corey Friedman, Pippa Mann, Chris Hall.
It's a who's who of sports car racing.
Spencer Pompelli. So, there's all our pros and coaches that are here. Guy Cosmo. It just goes on. And I think they enjoy. I know they enjoy their time with International GT. They like working with the customers, and they like being part of the program.
Now, introduce us to Mullaney here, the number 36, Patrick Mullaney. He's riding in-car. That's a Maranello Cup car, right?
That's a straight-up Maranello Cup car, Ferrari 458, so it's a little older than the latest rendition, which is why it doesn't compete up front with the Porsches. But John Patrick and Chris Hall really pedaling that car and doing well. He's now finally committed. After years of just doing this event with us, he came to us and he signed up, I think, for 3 or 4 events already for this year, and he's committed to coming. It's very good to have more Ferraris in the Maranello Cup.
It's good to see Reg Williams out here and moving up in the field already, the 008 of Reg Williams. I love having him out with International GT.
Yeah, the IDOC is going well. Obviously, he's got the track in focus. He's got the right contacts in or had the right surgery. But a great job. Reg's is a great competitor and a good guy to have here at International GT.
I love watching the inputs, Jonathan. You can see the wheel, you can see the brake. Look at that pass there at turn 10. Good driving there by John Patrick Mullaney.
Yeah, nice to have in-car from the Ferrari and, our other in-car with Steven. So we got 2 perspectives, one up front and one from mid-pack.
But middle of the pack in International GT is sometimes the best racing of the weekend.
Sometimes it's at the back of the pack.
Yeah.
I mean, it's and that's the nice thing. There's somebody always to race with. I said yesterday our 3.6-liter Mission Foods GT3 Cup trophy cars are towards the back, as are some of the smaller displacement Caymans. But you know what? They've always got a chance to win a championship. And last night we awarded Nick Carangelin 3.6-liter car. He was 2nd overall in the Mission Foods GT3 Cup. So they accumulate points in class, and they're eligible and can win the championship.
Never give up. That's the auto racing right down there. Now, who is that? It looks like a TLM car. Is that Tuwadi?
That's Nathan Bird. I saw David is the nervous car owner is on the pit wall. I saw him coming up here. He looked like an expectant mother.
Oh, I can understand why.
Look at that. Side by side in the Mission Foods turn 3. You don't really like seeing that, do you?
No, I'm okay with it. As long as they don't touch, I think it's good racing. Yeah.
And that's why a lot of people are coming to race in International GT, because it's really hard, good, but clean racing.
Well, we hope for that. That's all I can say is we hope. It doesn't always go according to plan, but we have a pretty good track record. That's all I'll say. It doesn't always exactly. People make mistakes, but whoa, there's one that's going the wrong way.
Spinner.
Neopol, he was in 2nd place.
2nd place man, and that puts Hammond back up to 2nd.
Where's he going? That's counter race, but he's going to take the old hairpin. That's smart. Good job, Bob Neopol. Way to take that escape road, and he'll be joining back mid-pack, so expect him to be moving up.
Tom Banks still out front. If they're doing bragging rights for the family pack, a lot of work to do for Lucas. He's down in 40th position. Dad up in the front there at the moment, and Neopol loses position. Hammond now goes to 2nd, and Pedro Torres moves to 3rd.
Yeah, young Lucas Pank at this point is running the parts car, okay? They've been through car 2 and 3, and he said last night, if it doesn't go to today, I'm done for the weekend. The Ultra Performance crew has really been thrashing to get him back on track. But he's out there running, and, as I said, he's not as competitive as he usually is. So, as I said, he's basically in the parts car.
Ken, have you got any youngsters out there who, this is usually...
Under 60 is what you're saying?
No.
There's one.
Okay, but guys that we wouldn't perhaps put in this field generally? Because as you say, they're generally speaking in their 40s or experienced sports car drivers, but sometimes an owner will give a youngster a go.
Well, for example, Andy Pilgrim is mentoring a new driver, Anthony Bartone. Bartone Racing. There you go. I mean, he's 24 years old.
That's young.
He doesn't have any racing experience. Now, I'm going to say, I'll just look through here, and I don't know everybody's age, but everybody's younger than I am anyway. So,
Lucas Pank.
Got Lucas.
But I want to tell this story. Geronimo Guzman came in a new R8, and new to him, so did Juan Lopez Santini, and they had a fire. So your paddock, a guy in your paddock, Tom Pank, gave him that Audi R8 to run for the weekend. That's the camaraderie. That's not an inexpensive car. And your friends just want big car counts, your competitors. It's amazing the camaraderie that you've developed in this paddock. Yeah, that was a big move, and we know that of Tom Pank. Tom is a gracious guy, a hard competitor. We call him our ADD poster child, okay? But he's good fun, and you know what? He's been such a good supporter of the series with his two sons in, and that's what he does. I mean, he'll give her parts. He's our paddock parts truck anyway for Porsche. But when he saw Geronimo's had such bad luck, Geronimo has his sponsors here, Provident Jewelers and Ernst Benz watches and Cohigo Tequila, all here this weekend to see him race, and he got one lap before the car caught him.
Bit of damage there.
Yeah, something.
They shouldn't bring him in for that, would they?
I think that thing hanging off the back, Mike. Yeah. So somebody got into the back of someone there.
Yeah. Looking high over turn 10.
So that looks like it's Juan Gonzalez there with that black Ferrari behind him. Who's in that flat black Ferrari?
Yeah, ran with us at Daytona. Father, son, so kind of new to us. Marcel, fan, okay.
Juan fan, yeah.
And his son is here running in the Porsche. So
good to see Todd Sloan venture out of Ohio and come race with us.
Todd's a great guy and one of our Ohio players, okay. He's been to a couple of races. His work thing keeps getting in the way. But, a guy I know, there are a couple of guys that are kind of sleepers, and if they put a run together of races, they would be very much in the running for a championship.
Now you see those different surfaces I was talking about earlier. And
Patchwork quilt.
Yeah, I've talked to some of the 12-hour guys who are, sort of these prestigious racing drivers that get the Le Mans, and they go to all these very soft Shanghai and very COTA-like circuits, but they love coming to Sebring because of the challenge of the different surfaces.
Everybody said when they talk about paving Sebring, there's a big round of no's coming across. Don't do it.
It's weird because the conventional thinking would be, why don't they repave it? And the mutiny that would happen because it's what makes Sebring. And look at how these GT cars are handling it.
It's mostly the lap record holders that are up in arms, right?
Yeah. Look at this.
This is great.
So much fun. Ken, I'm so proud of you and Julie for what you put together. International GT. And such a great show for the fans, spectators, and those of you watching on our Facebook and our live streams. Please leave some comments. Who are you rooting for? And maybe Juan Gonzalez will send you some mission chips.
There you go. We were talking about Geronimo Guzman.
Whoa, somebody's just spun. Sorry.
And we're talking about, you said never give up. We're going to put that on a trophy.
Yeah.
He was our Sportsman Award winner from 2021, with the Derek Bell Trophy winner. So, great enthusiast competitor.
Congratulations to him. That was Todd Sloan there that spun turn 5. And look at that beautiful number 3. Some great, fantastic racing, Ken. I love this group you've developed.
So let's just quick check. We've had quite a few changes here. Tom Pank still leads. Hammond is 2nd. Torres Pedro is 3rd. Then Reg Williams 4th. Nathan Bird up to 5th now. Andor Kovacs, who was in this race last year, he's 6th. And then Mark Mathis is in 7th. Geronimo Guzman 8th. Juan Gonzalez 9th. And Juan Fayen, the man we were just talking about, in 10th position.
Looks like Tom Pank has handedly got the race now. Coming into the Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers turn 7. There's our in-car Stephen Hammond. Had a great showing with us at Daytona. And there's Reg Williams. Looks like in 4th, 277. That's Chris Lee
there in a 277.
I hope he can get that fired back up.
Let's hope he gets it fired up
again. That's not an opportune place to be out there.
No, but the corner worker, I'm sure, will tell him when it's clear to fire back up and go out there.
Time running out, of course, and this huge field now is starting to look for quick laps and starting to look towards the end of this race, the first of 2.
Great to be back here at Sebring SpeedTour event. Look at that car show over there. Oh, look, it's a great spectator turnout.
Yeah.
Thanks to Tony Pirelli, SVRA, Trans Am, F4, International GT is very proud and happy to be part of this program. And certainly glad to have our new sponsors, Fixie Wheels. Brad is here, to and from Vancouver.
Wow.
He's right.
What do they do?
Fixie Wheels, okay, the round things.
Yeah, that's it. They just make wheels.
They didn't invent it. They just make the best ones on the planet.
There you go. I like it. Wow, are you their spokesman?
I could be their marketing guy, but yeah, they are. Certainly very much associated with the European brands that we run. A great forged wheel, both for racing and sport. Very happy to have Fixie Wheel. Also, we have Surface Transforms, which is HCF braking technology, ceramic braking systems. They're here with their engineering people, their first time with us. And of course, my favorite for at least when I'm in the air conditioning, premium luxury RVrentals.com. Yeah, nice. And we have a fantastic coach due to their attention to detail. And if you want a coach for a race weekend, these are the guys to talk to.
I got to give a shout out there. We saw the Cayman getting past Judith Lakazik, looking in the mirror, saw Tom Pank coming, moved over. That is the kind of racing that you expect from your international GT competitors. Still keeping good time, but was looking in the mirrors too, which you have to do in this like mixed class racing.
Yeah, it's a funny story. Judith is out there running. Albert actually is not on track because he had a mechanical problem. I think it's sporting that his wife is going to let him drive with him at the Enduro tomorrow. So, but first race with us with International GT, husband and wife team. She says, I'll go to the track stuff I'm familiar with. So
that's another thing to explain, Ken. Just explain for those watching on our live stream, if they wanted to be involved in this, they got a lot of racing over the weekend.
Hold on, that was Tom Pank just took the last lap. Sorry about that.
Yep,
all right.
Final lap.
Yep. Tom can breathe easy now. But, yes, certainly there is. Between International GT and Tony Pirelli has graciously, invited our guys to kind of double up. They can run in the SVRA Group 10, so it gives them or their co-driver an opportunity to get some more track time, either in test day, practice and qualifying, or actual racing. So it's we have 2 30-minute races, today, and an hour enduro tomorrow. So it's good fun. Plenty of time and things to sort out.
Coming down to the closing stages, Tom Peck setting the fastest lap at 2:05.992, but really the gap 5.4 seconds over Hamann, and that is really impressive by Tom Pank as he weaves his way through the traffic at the top of the track now and starts to make his way towards home for the last time.
Yeah, Tom, as I said, can breathe easy now that he got into Bob Leopold's head there, the pressure, and he made a mistake. But Bob's a new guy, and coaching-wise, he's there with Lonnie and Guy Cosmo. Shout out to them.
Yeah.
He was here first. He reminded me yesterday. I met him for the first time last year and said, Ken, I want to do this and come with you. He said, I'm not going to come, though, until I feel comfortable and confident in the car. He spent a year with coaching with Guy Cosmo before he came out. He did his first race at Daytona with us in December, and here he is running up front. Very capable. Rookie enough to make a mistake and admit it that he's got some things to work on.
That's great. That's what I love about the enthusiasm and the attitude of your drivers. It seems to be just as much about the fun and the parties like last night as it is the race for such a great paddock.
Yeah, but we, not only did we have our reception, we had a few laughs, a few beers. Initially, it seemed like a funeral when I got in there. I said, look, guys, don't expect something to happen. You guys are the entertainment, so, checkered flag is out.
But then, there it is.
Yep. And then we went, after that, we got done with that one. We went to an after party.
Yeah.
And at the 901
and that got a little crazy. I love it.
That was as Latin as it gets, and it was a good fun.
Yeah.
We had music, tacos, tequila, timepieces with Ernst Benz watches there. Cohigo tequila. There wasn't one tea we didn't cover.
I was about to say that there's a recipe.
We had it all.
Well, Ken.
Tom Pank had it all. My thanks. I know you were going to say thanks to Ken. But let me just quickly get in the result. Tom Pank then the winner, Stephen Hammond in second place, and Pedro Torres your top 3.
Well, Ken, have a great podium. I know your podium celebrations are always the best, and that looked like a pretty good, clean race. So it looks like you're going to have some fun down there.
Yeah, it's a good way to start. Yeah, a couple guys made mistakes here or there, but overall, green flag racing, that's what we need to see. And we have a good long history of green flag racing, and we hope to keep that up throughout the weekend.
Yeah, that's awesome. We'll enjoy it, and we'll see you in the booth here tomorrow.
All right, off to the podium, celebrate Mission Foods, Pirelli Tire, all the rest of our sponsors, and we'll see you this afternoon.
I'd like to see some of those fixie wheels you were talking about.
Yeah, I know. Well, we just started. I'm sure before it's over, we'll have them out there.
All right. Thanks, Ken.
All right,
thanks,
guys.
Ken. Ken
Thank
Fenger,
you.
who organizes this massive field of over 55 cars. They'll be in action later in the weekend, and we hope to drag Ken up here if he hasn't got a party or two to go to, mind you. But no, great start to the weekend, a perfect start to the weekend. International GT, go online and look them up. 3 different championships. It's a chance to drive a Ferrari, a Porsche, or whatever you desire.
Look at that shot right there with the drone over the car show. But Jonathan, I think we've got highlights here.
Let's take a look at the highlights then of our first International GT race, which got off with a bang. Away we went right from the get-go, and Tom Pank there in the all-Dayglow green got a good start, but Hammond got a better one. Stephen Hammond went straight into the lead from the second row and would lead for the first few laps down the Ullman Straight. Hot, wet weather, dry weather, I should say, as up the inside of Sunset went Tom Pank to take the lead, and once there, he never looked back. A few spinners, and one of the GT4 cars, car number 67, going round. Tom Sloan would be another one that would go spun round, but it was no problems for Tom Pank, who takes victory in IGT Race 1. So as they come into Parc Fermé and head towards the podium, our top 3 that is, we'll take a short break here from Sebring. Join us after this.
A marathon coach owner is someone who expects exploration and relaxation to blend flawlessly. For the most reliable, luxurious motor coach on the market today, look no further than Marathon Coach. Indulge that wanderlust, leave any cares behind, and lead a life filled with adventure. Join the Marathon family and take your 5-star hotel with you.
Speed, endurance, desire. For 160 years, Motul has helped engines and drivers go faster, further, and stronger. Tested in the heat of battle, driven with passion, with one aim, to give you superior powertrain protection and performance. Motul.
Welcome back to Trans Am. What a sight and what a weekend ahead. A huge, huge field of over 48 TA2 cars, all lined up and ready to go. It's been a long winter, as we said at the top, but we have a bumper field, including this man, Misha Goikberg, who has been such a perennial part of Trans Am over the last few years. But he does race Sebring here in the 12 hours. He does Daytona. He pretty much races in every series he can get his hands on. Great to have him back in Trans Am, and that's the popularity. All eyes will be on these cars, though. The all-yellow, three-dimensional services run by Doug Peterson, but with the champion, Rafa Matos, and, of course, Adam Andretti. The big news is, Rafa, of course, is the champion, but I spoke to Adam Andretti earlier in the weekend, and he is unfettered. He's ready to go for the title, and he is racing in that number 86. His partner, Tiffany, alongside, looking out and watching out, getting ready. There is Adam. A little wave from him. And yes, if you were wondering, he is a part of that dynasty that is the Andretti family. So they're all racing. And then car number 70, a little further down. That's Brent Cruz. We mentioned some youngsters that you may not know of. Well, here's one of them, Brent Cruz from Cornelius, North Carolina. And we'll be keeping an eye on him, but we'll also be watching very closely to what Rafa Matos does. I spoke to Rafa yesterday about the data that you see and the data that he sees after the race. We're going to be doing a feature on data brought to you by Three Dimensional Services. Really interesting, because data is not something we think of when it comes to Trans Am, but the level of this race series since it sort of re-established itself in 2011 has gone through the roof.
Oh, yeah. It really has. These huge teams. We've got a huge group here of TA2, and like you were saying, the cars are very analog. It's no driver assist, no power or anything except for a little bit of power steering, but everything is driver input, standard H gear pattern, 550 horsepower. We do have some carbureted cars in this field, but then when they get off track, the amount of data and digital analysis that goes into it. So the driving is analog, and then after that, it's like a science fair of data analytics back in their paddocks with all their drivers, crews, and teams. And now that Doug Peterson is fielding a 4-car team,
yeah, that's a big
with
news story
Andretti, Mike Skeen, our 2020 champion, Rafa Matos, 2018 and 2021 champion. And if you know Doug Peterson, there are no team orders in Three-Dimensional Services Group. It's may the best man win, and it's going to be really fun to watch.
I've been asked on social media and just by text why Mike Skeen is racing for Peterson, and the bottom line is he's actually doing an IMSA full season this year because he's that good. He's, like you said, a former champion, and Doug Peterson thought to himself, well, I've got a car. And it's all hands to the pump. The more information we can get early in the season, especially from Sebring, and get off to a good start, help each other, they all share the information. And I spoke to Andretti about it yesterday, and he said, yeah, just more data, more really interesting data, because we all drive differently. And the beauty of it is, if Mike Skeen says he's absolutely sure that this is the right way to go, they're going to listen to it, because he is a former champion. Yeah, and very calculating driver as Mike Skeen races almost every weekend. We were just with International GT, our Stuttgart. And Mike Skeen have partnered up to do some racing this year. Mike Skeen's running in IMSA, but then also going to be doing a limited run in TA2. But if you want a diagnostician, if that's even a word, in your TA2 car, Mike Skeen would be it. And it's so funny because Doug Peterson, Rafa Matos, Adam Andretti, Mike Skeen, 4 totally different approaches to driving here at Sebring. Yep, it's going to be very interesting between those 4 just within the team. But of course, they've got a lot of competition. You talked about him, so you've got people like Dylan McAvern. I saw him wearing his overalls today from Turner Motorsports. He'll be doing, I'm sure, the 12 hours. He was down at Daytona. We've got some pretty darn good pedalers out there. Yeah, 2-time IMSA champion Dylan McAvern, with many podium finishes here in TA2 at Sebring as we ride on board, coming into 15 and 16 with Adam Andretti. Now, you were talking about, so the T is throttle, the B is brakes, and we're going to be watching that and where he's hitting in this very rough circuit. As you can see, the cars bouncing up and down as they come down this long straightaway into turn 1. Now, this is, just so you understand, this is not a race. This is just their practice. They qualify later today. So if you're interested in Trans Am only, keep an eye on this session because it could give you a good indication. They had a practice yesterday. Conditions weren't that different. I can give you those results, but I really don't think they mean too much.
No.
They were just building up, and this session likewise won't tell you everything. They're not going for glory here. It's a case of getting off those cobwebs, setting up the car, looking at data, and getting ready for qualifying. And
now,
go ahead.
If you're looking at these three-dimensional cars and can't tell them apart, neither Mission Foods 3. We're going to be struggling with that, and I'll tell you, it's something we need to address, honestly, in Trans Am because it's kind of a race strategy to make the cars look alike, the numbers to be so similar that when something happens in front of a corner worker, it's kind of hard for those corner workers to report that. So I may not be allowed to say this, but I have. The cat's out of the bag. I can't unring this bell. See how similar all three of those cars look. We might need to address that because it's a good little gaming strategy Doug Peterson's got right there, and it's per the rules currently.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that. David Hoops, we've talked in the past about bigger numbers perhaps, more definition, and I think it'll happen. It's starting to evolve. The race director, of course, with over 30 years of experience in this sort of racing, having done NASCAR. So, yeah, we're looking at all sorts of permutations, but as you say, that's a clever idea in many ways. But you can see the number is 89, that's on the side, and on the back, 86 following him. So that's how you kind of keep up today. Adam Andretti running the 86, Doug Peterson the 87, Rafa the champion. And interesting enough, when you get close to Rafa's car, you'll see it says 88, but in the middle is the 1 standing for the champion.
And watch his hands here coming around. This is the most important turn here at Sebring. It sets you up for this long, almost 3/4 mile long straightaway. Look at that, 130 miles an hour.
Here's another little thing. Look at his left shoulder there, right? On the bottom left of your screen. See that yellow seat insert there? I watched him put that on yesterday. That is basically a padding because he was struggling around sunset and some of the left-handers just to stay in the seat because it's so bumpy, so physical. And I watched him spend a good 20 minutes putting that together.
New livery there, paint scheme for Bruce Raymond in that Optima Batteries, beautiful car. His wife has the snake eye headlights, and then you'll see tomorrow in the fan walk, she's passing out snake eye sunglasses to anybody that comes to visit that beautiful Optima.
You'll snag mine, yeah.
Ford Mustang that he's going to be running in the Pro-Am series with us all year.
Big season for Adam Andretti. That was a sensational story last year. He didn't have a drive. Doug was away, couldn't get back to do a practice at Lime Rock, threw Adam in the car. Adam did exactly what Adam Andretti does. He's an accomplished driver in TA in the past and done some TA2, but he immediately got up to speed and pretty much was on a level with Rafa throughout the year. And I would argue that pretty much helped Rafa to that title and could have had perhaps more chances to go for it. Nashville, he was on a chance to win. Yeah. And so I think that Adam is going to go unfettered until Rafa gets a massive lead, let's say. I think Andretti's going for a championship this year.
I think for sure. I think there's 2 three-dimensionals that are going to be going for a championship there.
Now, there's Cube 3. That's another youngster, Evan Slater, just 16 years of age. I said we've got some experience. We've got the likes of Rafa Matos, a former rookie, a champion in IndyCar. But now you've got Evan Slater, literally out of karts. He's done a bit of Ford spec racing, but that's all.
Well, he raced in TA2 with us at Lime Rock, did a really good job. But I'll tell you about Evan Slater and all of these young guns, and we'll explain that. If you're 24 to 14 years old and running in Trans Am, you can compete for the Simon Gregg Foundation Young Guns competition.
Peter Gregg
Foundation.
Yeah.
Peter Gregg Foundation through Simon Gregg, run by Simon Gregg.
Yeah.
And you can win $20,000. So we have a lot of drivers in the field between the ages of 14 and 24. But I'll tell you, Jonathan, I've met most of them. They're way more mature than either one of us.
That goes without saying.
And there he is, number 48, Scott Borchetta. Number 48, because of his childhood hero, Dan Gurney, running that beautiful big machine Spike Cooler.
And he, along with Ken Thwaites, responsible for the Nashville event I talked about. That was a huge success, and we're back on the calendar with that again, thanks to Scott. And
my hometown, the big machine.
Oh, I said to Ken Thwaites yesterday, are they still talking about it? Because I heard the crowd just literally in glee before the Indy cars even came out, watching Trans Am.
Oh, it was awesome. We had a great race. The Big Machine Music City Grand Prix is definitely one to put on your calendar as a spectator. One of the greatest motorsports events of last year. But now look at that. New to us, Tyler Cassera in that Liqui-Moly Stevens Miller car. Really cool to see Tyler Cassera back with us in TA2 in the car that we know is a championship running car under Mike Skeen.
I had a look at that car yesterday, and it's immaculate. It looks like a fully prepared Cup car in terms of when you look at how immaculate the engine is, how immaculate the cockpit is. And I thought about how dreams come true. Tyler Cassera made his name in Trans Am by doing the E-Series. He was relatively unknown. He'd done a lot of Spec Miata racing, which, let's face it, folks, is a very, very different race form than this. And now look at him. He's in a factory-winning car with all the right sponsorship, backed by Liqui-Moly, huge coverage for him, big pressure. He started with his pop and his brother, literally going to races, the three of them, and now he's in a full-on team to take him potentially to a championship.
Couldn't happen to a nicer guy.
Yeah, lovely guy.
New father, and just started as a new company, so he's got a lot on his plate right now. New team, new child, new company, and we're so glad to have Tyler Cassera out there. But there he is. There's the champ.
Yeah, you see that one in the middle of the 8?
That's a neat detail. This comes around Big Machine Vodka, Spike Cooler, turn 17. Hugging that wall there. He's going for a flyer. He is looking to see what kind of time he can get.
Well, the game is on because Mike Skeen is fastest so far, 206.2. Rafa right there with him, 206.4. And then Misha Goikberg in third. Good to see Misha back in the field. Connor Mosak, the youngster that made a name for himself last year, got a win and is in fourth at the moment. Tyler Cassera, the man we were talking about just a moment ago, currently fifth. Adam Andretti in sixth.
There we're on board with Adam Andretti. Coming around the really twisty part. Now, they've just recently widened this bridge. It used to only be to the ends of the road there. We're so happy. Sebring constantly making improvements. Amazing track at Sebring under the leadership of Wayne. It's so glad to be back here. And I just heard today at drivers' meeting that we're back here for the next 5 years.
Wow, that's a big story. Excellent stuff.
I love Sebring. And I love that we start our season here at Sebring, because this is where the Trans Am Series started back in 1966. Yes, the Trans Am Series has been running that long. In fact, Pontiac, after this great series. And you can see why, because if you like American muscle cars, this is where you want to be.
Well, and it's I'm so excited for this season because I know you share the buzz that we've seen in the paddock, not in just sheer numbers, but just in the fact that we've had COVID for 2 years. We carried on racing, but it was not easy. And now I feel that everybody has had 2 years to think about what they want to do. The price is right to go racing. As you mentioned, plenty of data, but real pure racing because you don't have the gizmos. That's why Mike Skeen and Cameron Lawrence and Dylan McIvern all want to race in it.
That's close.
That was a bit too close, wasn't it?
Oh, and there's Tyler Cassera ducking the inside. This is turn 10. Scott Borchetta around turn 10, holding his line. Look at that. He had the better corner. Way to go, Scott.
Well, there's another great story. You know, Scott Borchetta, a music man by heart.
I think I'll say this to Scott, he is a racer. He just happened to get distracted by a music career.
Well, he happened to be able to afford his racing by being successful in the music business. And I think that's how he's going to put his epitaph at the end of the day, because he loves the music industry and it's been great to him. And he's done so much for so many artists, but really, this is where you'll find him over a weekend.
Yeah, he is a racer through and through. I think he would do this every weekend if he could. And I know that he's one of the hardest working music men in Nashville, always doing things for the music industry. And, well, here we go, Misha Goikberg.
I'll tell you what's going to be interesting about this. Misha, like I said, has had a lot of coaches over the years to get him up to speed. And what I'm really interested to see, he's got a new teammate this year who's doing the whole national championship. Her name is Michelle Abate. She is, well, it's official. She's the most popular driver out there in Trans Am. We got her at the awards last year. But she has finally plumped and done the national series for the first time. She's done a lot of West Coast racing and won in the West Coast. Is that a yellow flag?
Yellow flag at 16, yeah.
Okay.
But I got to brag on Michelle Abate. She brought us some of this new Ghost Energy drink. It's delicious, and she brought us some Focus drink, too, for our ADD. It's to help us focus. So we're so happy to have Ghost Energy drink here with us in the Trans Am Series, sponsoring the most popular driver as voted by our fans last year, Michelle Abadi.
Her and her husband have, over the years, been literally the team. That and Moxie the dog. Yeah. But I don't want to underplay just how successful they've been, because they put themselves now in this BC Racing, this Canadian team, with Mish Goikberg, and really, really impressive to see how well she goes this year, getting help from Misha.
Yeah, and I spoke to her last night on the phone, and she says, man, Blaze Chitta really sets up a great car. She said it felt so good I didn't have any input for him. She said the car feels so well set up she didn't know what to tell Blaze.
The 44 of Patrick Paul.
Patrick Paul was with us at, I believe, Road America last year and the Big Machine Music City Grand Prix. So happy to have him out here with that monster paint scheme, as we've got some trouble there coming under the bridge. Somebody's going too slow coming into the Franklin Road Turn 7 complex.
And a change in the overall practice so far with 10 minutes to go. Goikberg has gone to third. Mosak has gone to fourth. Dylan McAvern is now
Connor Mosak.
Yep.
I think it looks like he's putting heat in his tires. Looks like he's about to go for a flyer.
Okay.
Making some room.
Well, his last lap that gave him fourth place was a 2:07.8 compared to a 2:06.2 by Mike Skeen, who leads the way at the moment from Rafa Matos. 10 minutes to go then.
Connor Mosak is running for a championship. Unbelievable talent we saw last year in that Nick Taylor SLR Chevy Camaro. And I said he's going for a flyer. It is testing. We're not qualifying, but he's just trying to see what that car can do here. This is probably the most torturous circuit that we run in the whole season. Another reason why it's a great place to start. If your car can survive Sebring, it can probably survive anywhere else. And everybody's trying to figure out what their car can and cannot do in this last session before qualifying.
Flat as can be here in Central Florida. This is where they make all the fruit here. The Florida oranges that came through the groves this morning. Beautiful sight as the sun came up. And there is this old airfield. That's a lovely story, how it all came to be. Down the Ullman Straight.
You can really see the cars lifting up, see out the front, and then they hit the brakes and the car slams down on the ground at the longest straight into this braking zone at the Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers. Here comes a Team SLR car here. That's Connor Mosak and that Nick Taylor. Look at this beautiful shot coming around. Now watch how rough it gets as he tries to go under that blue dot. See the blue dot on the bridge?
Yeah.
That's the line that they want to hit. That is the best line for the most speed. It's not quite the apex, but it's the smoothest line around. That's a racing school trick. You can go under that bridge, turn 17 under that blue dot. That seems to be the fastest line around. As we saw Carl Rydquist coming into frame there, racing for FranklinRoad.com. Our West Coast champion, racing in the National Championship
First time he's
series.
in the National Championship. He's done a few races, but this is the first time he's plumped for the full season. Looking forward to him. He came under my radar again under that E-Championship. And definitely somebody to watch. Carl Rydquist, comes from Sweden originally, but has raced most of his career here.
A stunt driver by trade that never put a wheel wrong. You know, you would think that a stunt driver. Yeah, so it's kind of neat. He definitely knows his car control, and there he is, Connor Mosak. He is definitely going to be in the hunt for a championship this year. Had an unfortunate incident as he was in third place near the end of the race here last year, so he's got kind of a monkey on his back with Sebring. Another one also going for young guns. I believe he's 22 years old as Connor Mosak, and just when you talk to him, you think you're talking to a focused fighter pilot. All the drivers here running for young guns. They have the focus of wanting to make it into the Cup Series, and it's like talking to drivers that have been driving for sometimes 30, 40 years. The focus you talk to in these drivers, including Connor Zilic, who's going to be racing with us, coming from racing Miatas at St. Petersburg this weekend, coming to race in TA2. He had a great showing with us at VIR last year and got pole. And so these young guns, these development into the NASCAR series, we've got quite a few of them racing here with us.
Let me just read off something that may just stun you. There are 8 former TA2 drivers that all took part in the recent 500, the Daytona 500. Harrison Burton, Tyler Reddick, Christopher Bell, Austin Dillon, Justin Haley, Daniel Suarez, Ty Dillon, and Chase Briscoe. All, by the way, Briscoe was third, all have taken part in Trans Am. And so when you look at Conor Mosack, think of those big names that you now know. In fact, Daniel Suarez raced with us at Nashville last year.
Yeah, he did. So cool
who's gone off at
somebody's gone off at 16.
Lamont.
But it was so cool to see Daniel Suarez racing against his owner, Justin Marks, in Nashville. Justin's now hometown, Trackhouse Racing, and they were racing wheel-to-wheel so hard.
And DTM star Joey Han.
Yeah.
So Trans Am continues to attract a very interesting and diverse group of racers. For those of you who are wondering how Ernie Francis Jr. has got on over the winter, well, he has got on sensationally. He is going Indy Lights racing. He did the FR Series, which is also part of Tony Pirelli's world. And that's a spin around. Is that McAvern?
That's probably Keith Prochuk, I believe.
It's Mark Kentensi.
Oh, yeah, I met him yesterday. New driver with us. Welcome, Mark. Sorry about your incident, but from Istanbul, Turkey. So we have quite a few international drivers here with us this weekend.
Yeah.
He's with Mike Cope Racing. Has a lot of fun racing. Is welcome to the series.
Yeah, and talking about youngsters, Mike Cope's the place to be. If you want to be a youngster and make it, he offers an arrive and drive opportunity, prepares the cars, and he has had a stable of youngsters come through there.
Yeah, one I want to give a shout out. We haven't seen a shot of him, but racing for FPEC, we've got Dylan Archer. Also came from the E Series and the newest in TA2. FPEC has Alan Davison has been racing with us for quite a while in SVRA, a longtime supporter of racing. So glad to see them out here. And now there he is, Dylan McAvern. If I had a fantasy football team of TA2, I'd definitely put him in my top 5 for finishing on the podium.
Well, he's hitting the top 5 now, just ahead of Tyler Casera in 6th. Adam Andretti hasn't improved. He stayed in 7th, and Cameron Lawrence. But look at this for a top 8. Skeen, Matos, Goikberg, Mosack, McAvern, Casera, Andretti, and Lawrence. Wow.
I got to tell you,
who's who of TA2.
It is. I got to tell you a funny story about Dylan McAvern while we're in practice. His mom is a great supporter of the series, everything that Dylan McAvern's doing. So I was asking Dylan where all he's won, because I know he's won here. He's a 2-time IMSA champion, and he didn't know his own discography. And I was like, oh, if your mom knew what you were telling me right now, she'd be so angry, because she could rattle off everything he's ever done in his career, as could his dad, who raced in the Grand Am racing. And he's racing his dad's car here with us in the vintage racing. So it's so great to have the McAvern family back with us. And I expect them to do some great things here with us at number 17. Team SLR, the only Mustang in the stable.
Whoa.
But man, look at that.
Pushing hard on the exit of 1 there, the dust flying up. It's been pretty dry. Talking to people in Florida who live here, and they said that the last 2 weeks have been absolutely like this, in the mid-70s, early 80s. Throughout much of the last couple of weeks. So that's why there's so much dust flying up here. But you're expecting, Florida is a funny place. It seems to rain once a day. But for the last couple of weeks, it hasn't.
So dry, in fact, that when the cars go through dirt roads near the track, as I was yesterday, it's blowing dust on the track.
Yeah.
So I got yelled at by a corner worker there at 10, which he should have, because I was putting a cloud through that straightaway into difficult turn 10.
Conor Mosack's just gone to 3rd quickest. He just set a 2:07.2 and very much on the pace.
Look at that shot there from Tony the man on the camera. You notice the numbers 73, 72, so you've got the Italian flag. That is the manufacturer there that won the 12-hour of Sebring.
Yeah.
And now the 12 hours been going so long since the 50s that they've had to start a second row.
Well, there's our first proper look at Mike Skeen in the 89. He's leading the way, a 2:06.239, his fastest lap. Never easy to jump into a new and different car, but that's Skeen's way. He's done it too. He's done it in the same team. He's driven Camaros and Mustangs in the same season.
Yeah, he's done it all. And I don't think his heart rate ever gets above 45. No matter what the situation is.
Unless his girlfriend's telling him off.
Maybe. just a real tactician as they come in here to Franklin Road, Turn 7, as we look there at Hotel 7. Our huge car show here. Record number of spectators at the Sebring SpeedTour. If you love motorsports and if you're in Central Florida, tickets are still available. They start at just $10. It's a family-friendly atmosphere, and there's no extra charge for camping. You buy a weekend pass, and you can be camping anywhere on this premises. That's going to be hosting the 12 Hours of Sebring here soon. But who is the number 89?
Mike Skeen. Oh, and that was a moment. He's pushing. That wasn't the fastest line, though.
No, it wasn't, but I think now he's going out and trying to see where the car has grip, where it doesn't. Now he's trying to learn some little advantages, the tactician of Mike Skeen.
Yeah, and like I've iterated before, or said before, having talked to both Rafa and Mike, I hadn't spoken to Mike Skeen, but I did speak to Rafa and Adam, and they said, you know, four cars is a lot, but it's as much information as we could possibly get.
Another off there at 16. There's Bruce Raymond coming in. Somebody's off there at 16. Now, one thing about Sebring that I love, Matt Muha and his team, Billy is out there up on the safety as John Cloud goes side by side. They will hot pull the cars. That means they will take the cars off the track as we've got Green Flag Racing. So we really appreciate the safety crew here under the guidance of Billy and Matt Muha for taking care of our cars without having to go full course yellow.
Yeah, not an improvement for Mike Skeen that last lap, a 230.27 at 206, but he was sliding a lot there. And as you say, he's probably looking for something else in terms of where the grip is and where it's not. You can see the different surfaces laid down. You've got to be really, really on it because every change of surface and bump makes a difference. We saw under braking on several occasions coming into turns 3 and 4 here at Sebring over the years in Trans Am, how easily you can get it wrong under braking because of those bumps.
So there's the finish flag as we ride on board with Rafa Matos as he should be coming into his cool down lap. Look at how rough it is there. Look at the bottom left there. You can really see his body taking some torture as I'm sure the country of Brazil is watching and cheering on. As you're watching, leave some comments on the Trans Am Facebook. What else would you like to see this year? Who are you rooting for? If you have a favorite driver, favorite car manufacturer, tell us who that is and who you're rooting for, because we usually do follow the guidance of our fans. This is a fan-driven sport, and we will follow the fans here with your comments.
145 miles an hour before braking hard into the hairpin at 7. Rafa Matos, our current champion, is also a 2018 champion with the same team. He did a year with Silver Hair Racing, and now he's back with Doug Peterson. No change at the leaderboard, though. So Mike Skeen's 206.2 in this practice session will be the fastest unless anybody can do something on this lap. Rafa Matos, who we're on board with now, he set a 206.4, which is absolutely fine. Conor Mosak is their biggest challenger in 3rd. Goldberg in 4th position. McAvern 5th and Tyler Casera top 6. Andretti stayed 7th. Cameron Lawrence in 8th position. And one of our new men, Robert Nokia, in 9th position. Best lap, 206.4.
So we're coming into the turn 17, but Jonathan, we're going to go to our commercial, our great sponsors and marketing partners here at the Sebring SpeedTour. Another great practice session with Trans Am at Sebring.
Yep, that finishes this practice session, and now it's the official lunch break for here, the competitors and participants here at Sebring. So we'll take a short break, but we'll be back with more action in about half an hour. So stay with us on the live stream. More coming your way. My thanks to Ben Sissel. I'm Jonathan Green. Stay with us here from Sebring and the SpeedTour.
As you can tell, I like to go fast. Our race team is really well prepared. We like to look good, but we also like to dress good, and that's why we shop at Franklin Road Apparel. I own the company, and I wear the clothes that we sell in that store. So check us out. We carry all the top brands: Baldwin, John Barbados, Billy Reed, Goodman brand, and on down the list. So come see us, Franklin Road Apparel, Franklin, Tennessee.
Lightweighting means reducing mass and consolidating parts. No one tackles these design and tooling challenges better than three-dimensional services. We'll provide flexible tooling solutions, including integrating parts, reducing design complexity, or even design changes. We're the go-to source for rapid manufacturing and low-volume production. Trust three-dimensional services to develop the most efficient approach to meet your lightweighting challenges today. Three-dimensional services. Prototype, production, proven.
Menards is the Midwest's ultimate home improvement store. Family owned since 1958, Menards is the one-stop shop where you always save big money. Get the Midwest's best selection nationwide when you shop online at menards.com. We make it easy to complete your projects around the house, big or small. From hardware to plumbing or paint to appliances, we carry it all. Visit menards.com today to save big money at Menards.